lady brought up a relevant point, and what we want to make clear.
Sure relevant.
Yeah, want to make.
She came late. I don't know how relevant it
is. What we want to make clear is that while there are three kings, and you guys who are on here can attest to this, who've been on here for any amount of time, we often try to look at both sides.
Absolutely.
Right? Because what we don't want to happen is finger pointing.
Absolutely.
Right? Where men do this, females do that.
Right.
We all have a responsibility for the end goal.
Absolutely.
So we try to approach our conversations from that standpoint. Now, the reason that we have, for some of you who may have just been joining, because we actually had a lot of people join lately, right?
Yeah.
For those of you who have joined recently, absolutely. Like, share, comment. We want to hear from you guys. But why we have three guys is because we have discovered amongst us, right, and just some of the other conversations that we've had with other men, that we tend to not have a space where we can safely articulate some of our perspective, how we feel about certain situations, why we feel the way we feel about certain situations. So we really brought this show about as a platform for insight for male and female to have a better, healthier, and more productive relationship.
Absolutely.
Whether in a serious relationship or not.
Absolutely.
Right. But how to navigate through different relationships, whether you're in a serious relationship or not. So let's get back to the subject, right? Because I think Ebony brought up a great distinction.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She talked about being attractive,
yes,
versus being attracted.
Absolutely.
That's a big difference.
It is. It
right?
is.
Normally, if you have someone in your sphere of influence, you might find quite few of them attractive.
Absolutely.
But the question becomes, are you attracted?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a better question. Now, let me answer from my perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And this is just my opinion. This is just Bruce's opinion. Okay. Everybody has them. Right. If there is a attraction, right, because they are attracted or because they are attractive, right? On either side, male and or female. You see, she making it
hilarious.
On either side. This is important because, again, I want to move away from this finger pointing. I believe that's why a lot of times we can't move forward with relationships. Everybody's blaming the other person on why it's the way it is.
To your point.
And not taking accountability.
To your point, something you say all the same.
Did he just do that?
He did. To your point, something that you say all the time, right? And so part of our purpose here is to establish new norms. Right?
New norms.
And there is too much finger pointing. There's too much. Men do this, women do that, y'all do this, y'all don't do that. And so let's make sure we're leaning in, talking to each other instead of at each other.
Facts.
Get real understanding, right? While establishing that we're here to lean in, right, and to advance the way that we relate one to another. So go ahead, my man. I just wanted to make sure.
So I wanted to point out that distinction because it can almost come across as semantics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if it's not properly addressed, it can also damage the relationship.
So one of the things we talk about all the time, right? We mentioned this before, right? Preferences versus standards, right? And also the importance of communication. And so making sure that you're unified and that you're connecting, you're moving, you're seeking to be in relationship with somebody who at least has similar standards as you and the ability to clearly articulate what it is that they do and they do not want, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to give voice to how they feel, to not just be off this is just me. Mm-hmm. I don't like it because I don't like it.
Right.
What am I supposed to do?
What you gonna do with that information?
Right. That's not actionable intelligence.
Facts.
Here's the other thing that I would ask for you guys' help with. Right. So often when we get to this space, it's easy because here's been my experience, right? Having been single for the last 4 years, I watched how women receive how I interact with different women
Mhm.
based on what that woman looks like.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we just talk about network marketing. It can be 8 o'clock in the evening. I can be sitting in the lobby having a conversation from a mentor-mentee capacity,
Mhm.
right? With a woman who is 65 years old, right? Caucasian and from Kansas, and nobody thinks twice about it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's 8 o'clock, it could be 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm having that same conversation with an attractive woman, right? Who's Black, and there's a whole different perspective and received. And for me personally, what I would ask of anybody that's with, that you make that assessment based on my character and who I am versus who I'm sitting across from. Because I move the same no matter what. If I come into this space and I say, dog, your shoes are extra fly, I like your hat, that shouldn't be any different than me saying to Ebony, I like your shoes or I like your hat, and it be perceived different because I compliment everybody.
But Vic, here's the thing.
I-
Does that person really know you? Because if they know you, then they would make that connection. You see what I'm saying? If I know you, then I'm not going to assume this or that because I know,
It
like
depends.
you said, that I know your character.
It depends. What I would say.
People take kindness for flirtation.
That's
true.
But
This
that's
is
what we're
That's
alluding
why
to.
you got the pushback over here.
So to that end,
Hey, Ed,
right?
don't preach my
The
sermon,
statement,
Ed.
the statement was,
You can't be kind to someone without them thinking you're flirting or trying to pick them up.
well, I would
Facts.
disagree. That's not my responsibility. If I'm so I worked for Verizon for years. If I'm come on with the comments, y'all. If I'm walking through the building, the common area, so the dynamic, I worked in the building, probably 700 individuals. Of that 700 individuals, probably 70% of them were African American. Of that 70%, probably 50% were young professionals, 40 years old or under. If I'm walking through the common areas on the way to the cafeteria, it shouldn't be taken any differently when I say good morning to Ebony as it is when I say good morning to the janitor who's 75 years old, has a hunchback and a bad wig on, right? I'm going to be who I am and move how I am and let whoever receives it however they receive it.
Okay.
That's true.
Go ahead.
I that's true. I get exactly where you're coming from, right? I just look at it like this. So let's take it to the internet, right? Social media, right? So I believe everybody, I don't care who it is, as far as that's doing good, right? I believe everybody that's doing good or what have you deserves a compliment. I don't care what color, shape, size, whatever, deserves a compliment.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But a significant other, or somebody that you're interested in, will sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, you're being extra, you're being this, you're being that."
Okay.
Why? Everybody deserves to feel good.
So,
And compliments make people feel good sometimes.
yeah, they do.
So
So good that they're going to ask for your number.
But you should be able to
So
compliment someone.
I'm not saying that you should not, right? What I'm saying is you just got, I'm just saying there's certain circumstances, right? Where there are folks who like Di, for example, right? She's real friendly. She's outgoing,
Right.
great personality, right? She mess and play with everybody, right? But there'll be circumstances, and I think this is where the issue becomes a real concern. There's circumstances when she doesn't mean anything by complimenting.
Yes.
You know, she doesn't mean anything by saying, "Hey, man, great job."
Yeah.
But the other person, to your point, is their while it's their responsibility, right? They're hearing something totally different.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So now they may, while you're saying great job, they hear, "Oh, yeah, she like me." You follow what I'm saying? So it's I understand. I'm just saying it's those situations where, again, for me, I'm always in those type of situations. I'm thinking to myself, how would I want Di to handle the situation?
Okay.
Right? If the shoe was on the other foot,
Okay.
right? How would I want Di to handle the situation? So I'm in the elevator, right? Nice looking young lady, smelling good, for example.
Right.
got some nice shoes on.
Right.
Should I then say, "Oh man, you smell real good"?
Absolutely not.
But that's what
Absolutely
I'm saying.
not. Absolutely
So do y'all see what I'm saying now? So
I disagree.
See,
I disagree.
But-
let me show you.
No,
Go
let
ahead,
me
go
finish.
ahead,
Let me
go
finish
ahead.
because again, I may be saying it to say, okay, well, what you got on? I want to get my wife that,
That's what you follow it up.
It's not.
right?
That's how you follow it up.
That's how you follow it up. But you gotta get to the follow up.
Like,
yeah.
so-
Don't just say you smell good and leave that door
out there
open, because
hanging.
you leave that door open.
So I'm just saying in those situations, and this is why again, I try to give you guys real life circumstances on how kind of me and Di handle these type
Yeah.
of situations, right?
Yeah.
What we often discuss is, okay, if we get into this situation,
Right.
how would you like me to handle it?
Absolutely.
And I think in relationships, there's not enough of those conversations, but more of assuming, right? You're assuming that your partner is going to be okay with how you just handled that situation.
So, to your end, right? Let's take the entry into the interaction into consideration,
Mhm.
because your actions should establish a personal brand, right? So I can speak for me, and I'm not going to be humble for a second. I'm not going to approach a woman in any kind of way,
Mhm.
right? Diane and I work together. You're never going to enter into my workplace, and any woman is going to speak ill of how I've approached her, how I've addressed her, put myself in any sort of precarious positions ever. So if I've never given you any reason to doubt, right, who I am or how I move, don't have an issue with who I say good morning to, regardless of
Ebony
how
doing a
they
lot
may
of-
receive
She's
it.
doing a lot of commenting, y'all.
now, to your
Facial
point,
expressions.
right? There should be, whether it's with our spouse or with anybody, we have to communicate with purpose and intent.
Mhm.
And to your point, it's completely out of place to say you smell good, because that's all the way open for wrong interpretation, right?
But
So I agree with you 1,000%.
But here's again, most women, and here's another thing, and it's men and women actually. Let me not say women. People, they'll ignore it versus checking it.
Okay.
Right? You can't leave that out there hanging.
Most people don't have that courage. I agree with
They
you.
don't have, right? So now you like, well, I mean, he said what he said, but I ain't paid that no attention. No, you gotta check that. I mean, am I wrong?
No.
I feel as though you gotta check that, because if you don't, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna make another little slight pass.
Monica said compliments be like flirting. So this is again. So I'm on my soapbox tonight, right?
You a flirter, bro.
So often,
Now we know you're a
That's
flirter.
it. You're a serial flirter.
That's the
Vic.
point.
You're a serial flirter.
You're a serial flirter. You ain't calling it what it is, man. If it walk
You're a
like
serial
it does,
flirter.
if it walk,
You're a serial
man,
flirter.
you're a serial flirter, man.
so
You're smooth with it too.
Yes.
here's what's messed up and backwards. You have a lot of women, especially attractive women, who feel like even if they meant it, they can't give a man a compliment, right? They can't even look in his
Especially not women.
They can't
man.
even look in his
'Cause
direction.
Men take that thing and they
It's the
we
green
got
light.
it.
It's the
Oh,
green light.
man.
But I asked y'all, right? And so when you're called, when you're chosen, when you're anointed, when you're drawn, when you can sing, when you can fix stuff, right? If you're constantly governing yourself by, I can't say this because this person won't think that, what it should be, am I living up to my code and my personal standards?
Let me because we talked about
Comment.
this. Monica said she said, but the work wife needs to know she's not the real wife, and vice versa. See, listen,
She get live.
and this is when we gotta have these protections set up, right?
We do.
And these are things, and we had this conversation even before we went on live, where we
Right.
talked about it's normal, right, in this society now for folks to say, hey, work wife, church husband, work husband.
Nah.
Folks.
Nah. Disrespectful as hell.
Folks.
Nah.
And this is what I'm saying. So in these instances, I think let's say Monique, for the sake of argument, You okay with that? Have you then had a conversation with your partner to make sure they feel the same way?
And that's the thing, right? Because how are they going to govern them? So let's, because people aren't imagining things. So let me read a quick statistic. About 53.5% of those who have cheated said they were unfaithful with someone they knew well, such as a close friend. About a third cheated with someone who was somewhat well known, such as a neighbor, coworker, or longtime acquaintance, right? So it's not that it's well founded, right? But how and where do
You're
we
right,
give,
Monica.
Well, Monica, what's Monica? Oh, they're hanging out,
She
giving
lied.
coffee and sporting to parties. Not the same. Monica, I'm not gonna
I'm not
disagree.
even
So wait,
involved.
I'm not gonna disagree.
is Monica and Ebony the same person?
They sound
Because
similar.
Ebony, Monique, Monica, they
Do you
sound.
think that's her alter ego?
It might be. It might be.
We know who we were being funny.
Well,
So let me give you a real time example. So our executive producer from behind the camera,
Duh.
right, is speaking up.
Shiver what she asked for, Caprice. Someone give your producer what she asked for earlier.
Oh.
Go ahead, my fault, bro.
We gotta get it.
Monica saying she can do that when she's single. Monica, this is just me. I'm gonna be who I am when I'm coupled, the same as I am when I'm single, right? My personality. Look at your face. What I'm saying is, Di, you can speak up on this. You've seen me in instances, right, in which we're
I know where she going.
a work environment, right, where we're speaking life into somebody. It's far beyond, right, a professional interest. This person's well-being is at hand. And when those things happen and when those things occur, absolutely, there's somebody who could be attracted to that characteristic, that trait, who you are and how you are. I can allow that to govern how I lead, or trust that the person that I'm with knows that I'm confident and clear in who I am, and I'm going to move accordingly.
So, go ahead.
Real
Caprice.
quick.
Yep.
Was
So
it
you-
live? Oh,
Yeah.
All right. I just think, yeah. You know, hey, I just think that a lot of times it comes down to what individuals choose to share with their friends that make your significant other comfortable. And so, if you're discussing things that are going on within your relationship, your household, things like that, of course, it's going to make that other person uncomfortable. If you start divulging information about what you're attracted to, even, you know what I mean? You don't even got to talk about what's going on in the household. You can talk about just what you're attracted to. Yeah, I like
You crossing over into
something.
cheating at this
Yeah,
point. damn
exactly.
near.
But again,
I mean-
it might not even be that, right? Because
We just talking about football, though, Bruce. Nikki like football, and I
Right.
like football,
I
and we
got
just
it.
talk.
I got it.
But-
But again, remember what I said before we started the podcast, right? A lot of times we make it about what we're saying, how we're doing, what we move. When in fact, the person that you with may just have some past and or current, right, insecurities for whatever reasons, right, where she's been let down, right?
Triggers.
She's been some triggers. She's been broken, right? Some things
Yeah.
that have happened that have caused her now to feel the way she feels.
Yep.
Right.
So it may not even be about us.
True.
So I'm gonna go back to this, right?
That's true.
Because if you look at the filters on those, more often than not, right? And it's not to say that it makes it right, wrong, or that you don't take action on it, but do we not consider the fact that those things are situational in a sense, right? Is what that looks like if you befriending someone is of a certain age, or how they look or they don't look, and it being treated differently. That shouldn't be the case.
It should be, and I agree with you, right?
Right.
But what I'm saying is ultimately, when it is the case, we have now a responsibility to make sure they feel comfortable about that situation.
Or exit the situation.
Or exit this. I mean, you got
I'm
to. You
just
certainly
saying.
got a
I'm
choice.
just saying.
You got a
I'm
choice.
just saying.
You always got a choice, right? But if we're talking about, there's somebody who, I want to find a way to make this work,
Absolutely.
right? Because sometimes we'll exit situations, and it's way too soon.
I agree.
The corner, you right at the corner.
Absolutely.
Get ready to turn the corner for the relationship going to the next phase, the next level, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And because you felt some type of way, because they felt some type of way, now you exit.
Yeah.
And I think too often times relationships, because people are in love with the idea of being in a relationship, but not in love with the idea that relationships require work.
Would you agree with this too, right? And so you talk about, just to your credit, Bruce, you talk about this all the time, right? Attaching yourself to purpose,
Yeah.
right? And if there's certain purpose present in your life, then you owe it to yourself to have understanding with the person you're looking to partner
Facts.
with on a natural level.
Yeah.
You can sing. Newsflash: women are always going to be drawn to men that can sing. Period.
Yeah.
Eddie Kane.
Did he say Eddie Kane?
Elvis Presley.
Anybody listen?
It's true though.
God
That's
knew
fact.
what he
That's
was doing and not giving me that talent.
See what I'm saying?
I would have.
We already know.
I would have
Sir, you
completely.
flirt.
We already pointed it out.
Come on, dog. You killing me.
If he can
You're killing
sing,
me. I would have completely misappropriated.
But
everything.
I do want to address something. I do want to address something that you said, right? I do have a pushback. Okay. Because you talked about when you get into relationship because of who you are, you shouldn't have to change.
That's an overstatement.
Okay.
That's an
I
overstatement.
need you to explain to the people because they probably thinking like I'm thinking.
So what I mean, so that was a generalization, right?
Okay.
I'm a genuinely kind person.
Okay.
Okay. To your point, I seek out opportunities to uplift, to accelerate, and to speak life into
Okay.
people. So if I'm walking through a building and I see a dude, if I see him like, that's dog, that suit is fly. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm then walking and the next person to see is a woman who I heard just killed it. Hey, I heard you did a phenomenal job with your presentation. Thank you for making us all look good. That's just who I am.
Facts.
If to Monica's point, there are times, especially depending on what you look like or what type of swag you have, right? Or what type of influence you have, women may receive that as flirting. I'm not taking that on as my responsibility. If I've always been like that, I know my energy, I know my intention, and I'm staying appropriate. I didn't say you smell good. I didn't say that skirt fits you well. I kept it about your presentation. Hey, I saw you did a phenomenal job and you made us all look good.
Everybody keeps it about the presentation initially.
hold on, let's go back to the perfume.
Yeah, everybody
Back to the perfume.
even before you get to the perfume, you can say, man, you did a phenomenal job on that presentation.
But see, now here's
And
the
then
thing.
now you find it at night at the bar because y'all just chit chat.
Delivery.
How we
You
get to the
I'm just-
cafeteria?
hey,
I'm
I'm
telling the
just-
truth.
I'm just- no, he telling the
telling
truth.
this.
Hey,
Let me give you. Absolutely. Let me
can be taken
Look
the
at
wrong
y'all.
way.
See, I didn't do that though.
Caprice. So Caprice. You correct
Y'all
me if
some
I'm
sharks.
wrong. All right, you correct me if I'm wrong. Right. Man's perspective.
Yes.
I know him now, but if you got a guy like this constantly saying that stuff to your significant other,
That's
Be
real.
You feel
That's
uncomfortable.
real.
Careful.
It's gonna be, especially
that's all.
in,
I'm just saying.
listen,
Let me also preface this real quick before
Go
you
ahead,
step
go
in.
ahead.
Let me preface this. There's an exception to every single
Yeah, that's
rule.
real. That's
Yes.
real.
Okay,
That's
there's an exception to every single rule. But I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, when they giving you this, they coming for more.
and
That's
look,
real though.
number one, you're consistent with the compliments. Number two, you dressed in your nice suit. You got your cologne on. You smelling good.
Yeah.
You flowing through the hallways. Hey, Lisa. Did a
Yeah.
great job on that
Uh-huh.
presentation.
Yeah.
Why your energy change up? Why your voice go down 2 octaves, dog?
And here's the other thing, right? Here's the other thing. And I really want to raise females' awareness to this, right? And I don't believe my wife will have a problem with me talking about this, but early on in our relationship, we used to always talk about, yo, you gotta be like, I'm gonna tell you from a man perspective, you gotta be a little bit more sensitive to that.
Right.
And she'd be like, nah, you know what I mean? Nah, blah, blah. And come to find out, what I was saying was absolutely true, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that females, you just got to be more aware. And even Ebony pointed this out last night. Y'all know, y'all know when they doing this. So you can't keep coming back to your man talking about no. Y'all know.
They definitely know.
Uh-oh.
You
When
know,
dudes are trying to
you
get at
know
you.
the dudes who trying to get at you.
Yeah.
You know the dudes who making certain comments because they trying to see if there's a crack in the armor. You
Okay.
know the dudes who saying certain stuff so you can come to them when you're vulnerable about a situation in your relationship and spill all the beans. You know them guys.
Okay, so to something Ebony said a little while ago also, right? Let's go ahead and spin the table a little.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking about, you know,
Oh, you spinning
women
the
and this,
table?
that, and the other. Yeah, I'm spinning.
Wow, this is different. This is different.
So sometimes, honestly, some of us know when the woman is flirting with us,
Facts.
and sometimes oblivious because we don't see the woman in that way.
So to the point of female, I have a couple of homies, like literally, never crossed any lines, never looked at them anything but friends, homies, sisters, who mess with me, and they'll be like, "Victor, for real, you didn't have any idea?" No, right? And so Ebony and Diala will appreciate this, because here's what we know: as attractive women, it's so difficult for y'all to move and maneuver. Some y'all can't pay a dude a compliment. You can't make eye contact without thinking he's the green light. So again, I'm gonna not be modest for a second. Not all men have equal access, right? So if you've moved in certain ways in certain circles with certain energy, you can act like you can tell a man who's never really had access to women because he doesn't know how to act. Right. And what you do with that is your business. That's neither here nor there.
But it ain't them I'm worried about.
No, but
It's
here's
the
what I'm
guys
saying.
like you, Vic.
Here's
Them the guys.
Come on, dog.
Hey, Caprice, help me,
Come
Caprice.
on.
Help me, Caprice.
So
You hear?
no, I threw you a whole life preserver earlier. This is the thing. Well, listen, all I was saying, I was agreeing with you. We don't. It's a first,
Big my man, big good guy.
I'm usually with my guy. I'm usually with my guy.
Don't show up on time no more. Don't do a whole different version of yourself, dog.
Big good guy. Don't let you know.
I'm not necessarily. I'm not. So, Dad, just say yes so people hear you. You brought something to my attention not too long ago. You was like, "Hey, you might want to take into consideration this person might be attractive." I'm completely oblivious.
Yeah,
See,
complete.
like, that's your personality,
right?
It is.
And I tend to think the best of people.
But watch this. Here's the thing. Somebody played a major role
We got
in
a
your
hand
life
up.
and how they handle.
We have people over here.
Yeah, so if y'all want to be a part of this live, y'all,
Right.
y'all
So-
inboxes, let us know. We got one live tonight. We already know she
She's
real.
ready.
Pill,
She got the guns loaded.
Yeah, we got.
So Vic, you know, somebody played a role in your life with the complimenting and so on and so forth that possibly you modeled yourself after, right?
So
I really need Bruce to go in for a second, though. I ain't even gonna lie.
I love it for what he said, dog. For real though,
So why?
because this is real life.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And
Speak on it.
don't play cool, like you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
right.
Why are you saying you're afraid of Victor?
So it's first of all, I was Victor, and I know Victor can attest to this, right? In network marketing, one of the things we've always been taught is it's a part of the strategy,
right?
Is to always find something that you can open a conversation with,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the strategy is, hey, that's a nice pair of shoes, and then you get it's a lead-in conversation about now having somebody as a prospect.
Absolutely.
And the same is applicable in this type of circumstance, right?
No
So if you got a guy like Victor getting on the elevator, like your shoes, they're prospecting. They're literally prospecting.
Depending on what the intention is.
2 minutes later, you like stay.
They're prospecting. Then you might not be prospecting.
There, thank you.
I'm just
as
saying.
long as I've been absolved, we good.
It don't have to be relationship wise. It could be prospecting for several reasons.
It could be-
That type of, he's always thinking.
I just-
brush the
Well,
shoulder.
I didn't.
no,
hey,
but
I
that-
didn't say what he was
but that-
prospecting.
Right, but
I said he was
knows
prospecting.
what- You're always prospecting.
But that's why but the thing is, that's what makes him oblivious. That's what makes him oblivious because he's coming from a good, genuine place.
Right.
And so women pick up on men that are genuine.
And then,
And
and
things
then
of that nature.
and you get on the
So-
elevator with somebody who just been hurt.
Mm.
That's your comment. No, I'm just asking. I'm asking for
This
a
is
friend.
good, dog. This is
I'm
good.
asking for a
We
friend.
all the way off the rails, and this is good. Look at Ebony.
Ebony, you got a question?
She
What's
got
your
her
question?
arms
man?
folded.
Ready. Ooh, she got a statement.
Okay.
Speak up so they
Let
can
us
hear
know
you.
if y'all can
Ebony.
hear.
Let me
Ebony.
get
If y'all
it.
can hear us. Let us know.
Come on, get a chair.
I'm not gonna get it. I think it's okay to compliment someone, and there's nothing to it. But honestly, a compliment,
I agree.
That's true.
a compliment can change someone's entire day.
Day.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's why I
agree.
give.
Absolutely.
That's why I
And
give.
Just because you compliment doesn't mean there's interest. That
Absolutely.
you're
Right.
flirting.
Yes.
Right.
You should be able to compliment someone's fragrance because
You
you
should.
genuinely like it.
Exactly.
If I receive a compliment from someone as a single woman, I'm not saying, "Oh my God, he likes me. Oh, he want to talk to me. Oh, he want my number."
You're not.
Yeah, but you can't put everyone in a box and
I
say
don't know who this Monica is,
You-
but she is tripping me out right
you
now.
can't put everyone in a box and say just because this man complimented me, now I think he's interested.
Which
If
is-
that has encouraged
which
you
is-
before.
yes.
If that has encouraged
Which
you.
is why again I said
Everybody may not perceive it.
which is why again I said there's an exception.
But you say,
To
and don't
every
let
rule.
her be hurt. Or don't
Yes.
let her just be.
I'm not changing that.
Has anyone
I'm not
ever
changing that.
misunderstood
Absolutely.
your night? Thank you.
And that's the point. That's the, so that's the point I'm making.
And then they tailor it into opportunity because it's almost like Victor genuinely he loves people.
Yeah.
He genuinely loves everybody. He would do the same thing to you, Bruce, as he would do for me, right? But then there's some women that aren't in that position where they can receive.
And then he's like
and
one of the
kind of like he's single.
and he's one of the best articulators that I know. Like,
You know what I'm saying? He real smooth.
no, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Bruce, look, he's straight. He got curls.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Got
Here-
the David Yerman break bangle.
Why you wearing one too?
So if I compliment Bruce, will you be offended if I say, Bruce, you look nice
Again,
today,
it-
and what's your mood?
but she knows you. Just like I know him, right? The issue becomes when the person doesn't know your intent. Remember, I always say if someone knows your intent, if someone knows your heart, they never have to question your intent.
And I don't mind people complimenting Bruce. Because when he sings, I already know them songs he sings, they all the way up at the front. I don't have a problem with that.
Play too much.
Exactly. I don't feel no type of way, but there's boundaries that have to be
Yeah,
set.
that part.
So here's the thing, right?
Boundaries.
So when I say it, we're uncommon. I did say I'm not going to be humble tonight,
Yeah, I agree
right?
with that.
Part of the reason why we're here, part of the reason why people are leaning in, part of the reason why listening, you do. It's thinking in mind too. Pause.
Terrible. Terrible.
Oh, geez. Dang it, man.
And it's that.
So, but we have to be careful, right? So we're in a room full of difference makers. And if you begin to govern yourself, did somebody jump in on that?
Yeah, look at Monica said about Vic, yo.
If we're in a room full of difference makers. So for instance, you know this about Di, right? She's passionate about helping people, right?
Very.
It would be absolutely wrong if her going against who she's created to be to allow somebody misinterpreting her intent to
I
help
agree.
them
I
to
agree.
cause them not to help them. So I used to be married to somebody who was she grew up like being really, really big on birthday, right? So when anybody's birthday came up, she was over the top. Oh, it was parades, it
Really,
was
Glenda?
fireworks.
Really, Glenda? Go ahead, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not really light skinned. I'm brown skinned.
Bro, you're definitely like
Come on. So all I'm saying is
Bring
we have
light-skinned back.
we have to be careful with
Nice
governing.
Joker trying to hit his wife last night.
We
Over at Ebony Pool.
gotta be careful
Yeah,
governing
light-skinned.
ourselves, right? Changing who we are based on the lowest common denominator, right? And so somebody taking a compliment out of context shouldn't dictate how you move and how you do things.
It should.
I agree
You're
with that.
right. You're
I
right.
agree with that, but what I think ultimately is important. It's a couple of things that are important. With respect to what we're talking about, one is self-aware,
Absolutely.
right? So I think we should be more mindful that while it may be genuine,
Yep.
it may not be genuine, right? So I think we need to make sure we have those. Just have our antennas up, right? And not to say that you got to be rude. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just saying just be aware that everybody's not a victim, right? But there are quite a few victors out there.
Right.
In my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think there are less victors,
I would agree.
Definitely.
I would agree.
I think most guys
Predators.
are predators.
Yes.
Predators.
Yeah, definitely.
We in agreement.
And because we like tigers,
let's
we
be
like
clear.
sharks, man.
There are
Like,
less Bruces, there are less Caprices.
Yeah.
There are less men who are interested in growing, evolving, maturing, to make sure that they can be the best version of themselves for the woman that they love or they're going to love.
facts.
So we are in a minority. We agreed on
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree
It
with
goes
that.
back. Look, it goes back to the standards that we set,
Yes.
and after we set that list and checking everything off,
Non-negotiable.
that pool
It
shrinks.
becomes smaller.
It shrinks.
It
We
becomes
don't have that
absolutely
many
smaller.
to pick
Absolutely.
from.
And you also said something I think is key. You got to be okay with that.
Yes,
You do.
you have to.
You obviously you
You
got
have
to
to
be
be.
you got to be absolutely okay with that. It may take longer than what
Yeah.
you anticipate or
So,
expect.
so if you're not okay with it, then you're gonna have you expand your pool more. Now you wind up settling.
So I'm gonna throw in another aspect of this, right?
Okay.
You normally the stuff starter,
Facts.
right?
Oh, wait a minute.
Undeniable.
That's-
We rubbing off on you.
Hey,
I
hey,
win.
we rubbing
that's
off.
a
I win.
fact,
I
man.
win.
That's a
Good.
fact.
Listen,
Okay.
I believe we attract who we are when we're ready.
Mm.
So if you constantly find yourself with somebody that you gotta say, I'm not sure about you interacting with her, or you going here, or you doing that, right? Who is it you're attracting? Are you settling? Right back to standards. If you constantly have to
I'ma
ask
tell you.
somebody to be different than who
Yo,
they
I'ma tell
naturally
you-
present
I'm gonna
themselves
tell
as.
you what's incredibly ironic and funny about what you just said. When I first met Di, I was so insecure because I'm like, I've never dealt with somebody like me.
Wow.
Oh,
I love you for
It's
that
funny,
transparency,
hold on.
though.
It's funny that you say that because I was just thinking something, right? You have to be the person you want to attract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you
Most
want a
people
good right, if you want a good person, if you want somebody that's genuine, you have to be that.
Yeah. So now it caused me to say, how would I deal with me?
That's why you talking about you don't want me around, because you used to be like me. Now we get to the
I'm just saying. So now when you look in the mirror, and the mirror is the person sleeping with you.
That's real though.
Now you got to figure this thing out now. You didn't have to deal with it initially
That's good.
because it was your second nature.
Yeah.
You know, and you was okay with it because that's what you were doing. That's what you were about. But now when you have somebody who moves similarly to you, now you gotta find a way how to navigate through that whole situation.
Yeah.
And that's why I say relationships are not hard, they're just different. Right?
Yeah.
Why are they different? Because you coming from two separate places, dealing with two different people, you know, trying to be one.
I think it's also important, right, that we be careful about making like singularly declarative statements, right? When we're saying this, right? You can't have friends, or men shouldn't have female friends,
Yeah.
and that you give room to the person that
Absolutely.
So I will say this, ladies, for the majority of you, this is a generalization, so forgive me. Most of you all do, I'm being way too clean with it. The fact of the matter is that in general, women like men who attract other women. If
Dude, that is crazy to me.
if you're an
Basically-
alpha male, if you're
basically.
successful,
Yo, that is
if you're
weird
intelligent,
to me.
if you're articulate, if you're a
Let me
good
say
earner,
it, 'cause I see somebody's face. There's an exception to every rule.
Listen, hey, it
But,
may be
but
an exception.
you right.
It may be an
so
exception,
so
but
so let me just tie a bow.
But aren't men the same?
I'm not so sure.
So
Here's the thing.
so men may not like it, right? They might not like expressing it.
Right.
But men absolutely enjoy when other guys are looking at you.
don't get me wrong.
But-
Physically, yes.
Oh,
or
this is a good
oftentimes.
one. This is a good one.
Right,
I got love for
So
you.
it's like I tell my daughter, my oldest daughter.
I'm
Both
not
of my
telling
daughters
y'all
are
don't have no
beautiful.
clothes on when y'all go outside, boy. I ain't telling y'all that.
Right. So my oldest daughter, Kennedy, beautiful, and I like at 23, right, highly successful, almost at 6 figures, got her degree, has not found a serious relationship yet. And what I have to tell her, what I've explained to her, is that most 23-year-old boys aren't looking for the things that you are and what you
That's a fact.
emulate. They don't want smart, intelligent, accomplished, and articulate. They want easy, fun, and accessible, and be okay with it, not me and you.
This conversation sounds similar to a conversation I had with a young lady last night. Because of her accomplishments, her successes, her independence. And men are not looking, while they're attracted
Or intimidated by.
and or intimidated by,
Yeah.
they always gonna take the easier route. So it goes back to what Capri said. That pool shrinks now,
Absolutely.
right? That's it's nothing wrong with the pool shrinking. It's just that you got to be okay with the pool shrinking.
That's the key.
Absolutely.
There it is.
But so
That's all that
I
matters.
wanted to touch on something because you said something that was very interesting about women looking at guys one way and us looking at attractive women sort of the same way and things of that nature. Women see that guy that he's attractive, and of course, there's other women, tons of other women that find that guy attractive.
Mhm.
But women want to have a relationship with that guy, have a family, and this, that, and the other. Men who find, let's just say, the Instagram models, I don't think necessarily we want families with these women.
But
They look good and so on and so forth. But I think when it comes to a family or something like that, I think we want more.
But
than
that's
just
how
the looks.
that's how I think.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people, both men and women, miss out, man. Because again, the conversation last night, like it's so it was shared to me that there are women who feel like because of how the dating experience is nowadays, they're okay and made it acceptable to be dating married men or to be the second one on the roster or that's really what it is.
But they fall into that lane sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they fall into that lane because of standards that they set. Because and when I say standards that they set, sometimes you can put certain standards on your list. I'm not one to judge, it's your standards, but understand you're gonna shrink that pool down to a cup.
So let me
and it's gonna be hard to find that fish in that cup. I don't think
you're incorrect, but I think it's incomplete. Mm-hmm. Here's why I say that. A lot of times women feel the way they feel because men had a lot to do with the way they feel.
That's real.
That's true. But
we expect females to keep these standards when we maintain the standards. We're doing any and everything with any and everybody, and yet we got these standards for this female. And then this female present these standards to you. You got a problem with it because you don't want to work hard enough and you'd rather take the easy route.
Okay, but watch this, man. Hold on. But here's the thing. Honestly speaking, let's keep it a buck. Let's do it. Some men meet women with a list of these standards, and to be honest with you, they don't want to put the work in because
The female
man,
or the male?
The male doesn't want to put the
Okay.
work in
Mhm.
because, honestly speaking, he doesn't see her being.
Y'all being real sterile right now.
So go ahead.
So listen, this is why.
I don't like how you said
I'm
that.
just saying,
I know,
y'all-
right? I mean, you
alluded
think he
to it a
upset
minute
about the
ago.
curly head and deep voice?
You got curly hair. You look at real Jermaine Jackson over there. You shiny as hell.
I'm
Right
shiny as hell. I'm shiny as hell. I need lights. I need power.
now.
Makeup.
Listen, this is if we're really right. This is the importance of understanding with who you're connecting with and how you're connecting with them.
Mhm.
What does this person want from you? If we
Mhm.
keep it a buck, generally speaking, we enter into these situations with different end games in mind.
Right.
Men have the ability to be lazy because they really don't have to work for what the majority of them want.
That's true.
So if the end game is sex and you don't, this has been said.
Speak
before.
on
This has been said before. Money does not make the world go round, ladies and gentlemen. Vagina does. If we wanted to end all the world problems tomorrow, ladies, if you said black women, if you said
You good?
black men,
You good?
I'm saying it with my whole chest.
Okay.
Ladies, if you said if you don't care for your children, you don't have access to my vagina. If you're not gainfully employed, you don't have access to my
I'm gonna tell
vagina.
you. I'm gonna tell
If
you.
you're not respectful, you don't have access to
I'm
my
gonna tell you.
vagina.
I'm gonna tell you. So we had an episode last week. Why did I get married? Right. Me and Dad was shacking.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
Woke up one morning. I says, "Yeah, we can't keep doing this. We gotta get married." Whoa, wait, what?
Mhm.
Excuse me. I'm smashing with no ties right now. What you mean, married? What we?
Right.
But it's at that point where she held the line.
Mhm.
Well, I had to make a decision.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I was in my feelings.
You feel some kind of way? Did your voice go over? What you mean?
Feeling some kind of way. Yeah, we gonna talk about this.
Went for a
But
long
again,
walk. Went for a long walk.
What I want you ladies to take away from this is when you hold the line. When you hold
Let's
the
keep it
line,
And she's the one.
when you hold the line, somebody got to decide.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's not enough of y'all holding the line, ladies. It's that's if the truth be told, it's not enough of y'all. So what y'all doing is y'all allowing this perpetual continuance of the same cycle. But yet you keep having a problem with it.
And not only do they have a problem with it, they're scarred and marred by it.
Yes.
Because you know why? From my opinion, I think they're so hungry and thirsty for love.
I'm about to slide over to the right.
They're so hungry and thirsty for love, and they haven't had it. A lot of them haven't had it. It goes back to our episode with absent fathers,
Right.
with the fathers not being there. So we tend to overcompensate. You
That's
see what I'm
true.
saying? So I remember hearing a minister say one time,
Wait, you went to church?
Stop it, dude.
Oh, my fault. No, it kind of threw me off, bro. I'm sorry.
No, but the minister said one time he and this was in church. And he said, a lot of you make fun and make jokes. He said about me overcompensating and buying toys, buying a lot of little gadgets and things like that, because as a child, my parents weren't able to afford to buy us Christmas toys. We got one toy a piece.
Right.
And he said, so now I find myself overcompensating. He said, what happens with a lot of men and women, you got mommy and daddy issues. Fellas, your mother haven't given you enough hugs and kisses to show that they love you. So now you overcompensate by having a bunch of lovers.
So
Women in the same way.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I think when we live in, because I can't even tell you how many times I've heard this same thing over and over again. The dating game is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get away from these excuses.
I like dating.
Yeah, okay. We got to get away from these excuses where it's mama fault, it's daddy fault, because those are same things we can attribute to how our life has now turned out.
Yeah.
But just because mommy and daddy wasn't there doesn't mean that it was mommy and daddy's fault. It's
Right.
just how they took it and they internalized it and they're searching for
Let
it.
me
But go
address
ahead,
this
go ahead.
question real quick, right? Because Monica said married men out here claiming single with no ring don't do that. You're right. But here's the other part of that, Monica. They out here claiming married, and y'all still letting them access.
Basically.
So how do we deal with that issue?
So
With the ring
With the
on.
ring on.
With the ring on.
it's so
So I'm not, and again, I want you to hear what we're saying, Mark. We're not blaming one over the other,
we're not.
Right.
right? What we're simply saying is at some point, we gotta hold the line.
And to your point, right? Ideally, and establish to your point, your tagline,
New norm.
establishing a new norm. When do we stop speaking to the least common denominator? What you give your time and your energy to is what you tend to see over and over again.
Coffee in your cup.
What you give your time and your energy to is what you tend to see over and over again. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see has everything to do with what you think. What you think has everything to do with what you say. And what you say has everything to what you continue to experience over and over. And so, like, if you continue to give energy to men who aren't worth your time and energy, if you're a poster about what men do and don't do, you're going to experience finding what it is that you desire less.
But you know
and
what's
less.
crazy about that? They do all that posting and they still allow access.
Listen,
Don't change it.
So again, and this is my concern, right? And we even talked about this earlier, where we have all these concerns with how men treat women,
right?
how women treat men, and ain't nobody changing the game.
Except us, because we
It's,
establishing the norms
everybody's
over here.
accepting it, and everybody's just accepting. Oh well, that's what they're doing, right? Like even Monica. Let me mention this real quick. Monica, you said people consider me a social butterfly, so you have to be able to accept that I attend a lot of events, take lots of pics, but I ain't totally home with nobody. So that's cool. That's cool if you
Said
want
she
to be
wasn't going home with nobody, but we try.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. The question becomes, Monica, when you find that individual,
Yep.
right, that's saying, hey, listen, man, I like you a lot, but even matter of fact, Ebony brought this up, and she said, I don't want that person that goes to all the events and every picture with like you gotta consider your partner.
Absolutely.
And then, I don't think it's enough people, men and women, who are not considering their partners.
Monica, please be clear. The type of man that you probably desire, right? Because so many women talk about alpha males. We don't share what we love.
Facts.
So it could be
Facts.
completely honest,
Facts.
but what you're not about to do is have a picture on IG with some dudes around your lower waist talking about,
Oh, you all,
no man,
yeah, we
no man, stop it.
I'm gonna tell you. So, and I again, this is why I'm so fortunate to have met Di, because Di, people consider Di, especially because of her associations,
Yeah,
as a social butterfly.
absolutely,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
That to me, you're not gonna be in like 100 pictures with 100 guys like every single week. Like that's not gonna happen. So what did I do? We started hanging out together.
And
Period.
And right there wasn't, so by and large, there wasn't a need.
Monica say, "Oh, I."
She wild.
I too. Well, you have to say we have to invite Monica to the audience.
Monica
Like,
is hilarious.
by and large, you didn't have to say, "I need you to change. I need you to do," because you were the one. There's this seamless, natural progression, right? And adaptation.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm going to move
You use that
differently.
word, adaptation.
Adaptation.
Wow, this is going all the
I
way.
don't be
left.
going in my bag. I don't be going in my bag.
Okay,
too
okay,
often.
fair enough. But I think that's why it's important. And this is again why we kind of form this platform.
Facts.
Perspective,
Facts.
proper perspective,
Yep.
right? If you're not having these conversations, we're leaving it now all up into interpretation and assumption.
And if you're with someone, ladies and gentlemen, who's not capable or willing to have the conversations, it's a bigger issue, right? And so you have to know who you're sitting in front of, who you're sitting across from, who you're laying next to. And do they have the capacity, the ability, the intelligence, the intellect, or the lack of trauma to even give you what it is that you say that you want?
Well, one of the key things is
It's a good
you
show.
you actually really need to find out the purpose of your dating with that person. What's their purpose? Because a lot of times they could just be dating you for fun. And
That's their purpose.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And they're not as serious about it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question: when do you have that conversation?
Hey,
From the
you
giddy
might
up.
need to do that.
From the
Like
giddy up.
second date, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You have that conversation
For me,
out the gate, 2-3 weeks in.
No.
second
Look,
date.
they
Yeah,
won.
understand.
They won.
Oh, they won.
They freaking I don't have the ability to misappropriate my time.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Primarily,
Facts.
primarily
That's
because
facts.
I'm a father of a 23-year-old and a 50-year-old.
How would that conversation go, Vic?
It really looks like, what is it you're looking for, right?
Off the break?
Off the break.
You answered that question.
Let me not.
First night
Let me
at
not.
True Lux.
Let me not. Let me. The next day, right after you're beautiful, after I like your dress, right?
Okay.
Right. What is it? What is it you're looking for? Right. What are your non-negotiables?
Okay.
If those don't match up, I'll see you next time.
So
on
let
that
me
True
me say this, right? In that circumstance, I don't feel like there's a right or wrong answer.
It's not.
And I'm saying that
But
because
there's one that's acceptable or non-acceptable for you.
exactly. So I'm saying that because guess what? That's how you're standard. Hey, if you okay with six, because hey, there's gonna be a lot of people getting out of there quick.
And
They ain't walking out of there quick.
and for me, if
Absolutely.
there's a lack of standards, there's nothing for us to talk about. You understand what I'm saying? We talked about this. We talked about a foundation of faith, right? If we worship differently, if we believe differently,
Mhm.
there's no misgiving. We can be cool. We can be friends, but according to this platform. But in terms of there being a potential for forever, ever, absolutely not. If family doesn't come first of you, if loyalty doesn't mean a lot to you, if we're not a like match when it comes to intelligence, if you're not going to stimulate me above the curves in the dress that you're wearing, we're not going to make it.
So,
Say be sexual.
Monica, you
SAT
you getting a
word.
lot of attention today, Monica. Monica, you said I'm a professional and only have respectable picks.
Right.
The picks are respectable to you.
Absolutely.
Are they respectable to your
Mate,
spouse?
And that's
or
all
your
we were
significant
saying.
other?
That's all we were saying,
And
Monica.
see, again, I want y'all to understand, if you're single, that's cool.
Yep.
When you with somebody, you now gotta consider.
And so for Monica,
It still matters.
I didn't want to say that. So that's a female. That's a female talking.
but in
That's a
fairness,
female talking.
in fairness to Monica, maybe Monica just needs to match with a whole nother social butterfly.
That
A dude
could
that
be
makes
that.
his money, taking pictures online, being an online celebrity,
Hey.
who understands that it's just a picture. The average dude is not going to be okay with there being permanent pictures out there. The
Average
whole
dude.
universe.
Yeah.
Some dude
I'm
with
like,
his arm
yo,
around his
Listen to me. Listen to me, Monica. Di has and had a rack of pictures with dudes. I couldn't tell who was who. So when you have that type of track record, you're gonna have some questions from the people that you're dealing with.
Fact.
Is that what you want? So I'm saying all this because, and that's again, this is what I appreciate about being with Di, because we've had these conversations. And while she didn't see anything wrong with it, when I now kind of expanded her perspective, she now like, oh, okay, I see how that can be a little different.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what some of the things we need, men and women, need to start considering. Because even if you're in a relationship, guys, with the female, and she see you out here in these pictures with all these other females, what is she supposed to think?
Absolutely. And so I've been asked recently, right? It's kind of rhetorically, but it's not rhetorically. You seem like the type of person that has a lot. Monica's on fire.
She is.
Huh?
Okay. I need someone to grow old with.
What Karita?
Oh,
Karita.
Monica off the chain.
Go ahead.
Hey, Monica, you are growing old and you on IG taking a picture with 1,000 dudes.
Dottie, everybody.
Right. Chris Brown.
Monica, we just saying. Listen, all you do.
What's happening? Who are you?
All you dudes who are social media influencers, please inbox Monica Perry. Take a picture with 1,000 people. She wants to be with you. Y'all are a great man. Monica, we just messed up.
Yeah.
Listen, there are absolutely dudes who are sitting at home that are rock solid, who trust you, who are okay with it. And all we're saying is find that person. Right?
Find that
Communicate upfront and honestly. Listen, Monica, listen, baby, this is how I make my money. This is my brand. This is what it means. Yeah. I'm absolutely dedicated to you. And as soon as he's rock solid in that, if he asks you, hey, you should only be in the club twice a month, you know that's not the dude for you.
But let me also say this, right? Because if it's his concern, it should be your concern, Monica. Right? That's the first thing. But there's a thin line between love and hate. And I say that because sometimes you made this point. Right. Sometimes it just be that they absolutely insecure.
Absolutely.
So now you got to deal with that aspect of it, right? So the question that you got to ask is, how far am I willing to go in this relationship? Right.
So I'm glad you said that. So we're gonna project this thing out. So let's just say,
Karita, I'm coming to you, Karita. I see you.
I'm not sure, but let's just say Monica is a social media influencer. Mm-hmm. So she literally makes her money by being in pictures with
Absolutely.
people. It wouldn't be at one point, right? You made significant money singing for a living. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it above. There are groupies that come with that.
Absolutely.
So someone asking you, don't be singing all like this, right? Or you don't have to lean. Don't look at her when you sing. That would be completely unfair, right? And then so for that person, if we frame it like that, that person to have challenges. Listen, let's keep it a buck. It's like a dude meeting a woman who's an exotic dancer and then asking her not to dance. So, you know what circumstances you met her under. You know what circumstances you met that person under to ask them to change. That's disingenuous.
Right. So Monica, how can somebody trust you when they have a problem with trust? Period. So, and that's what I'm saying. So these are the questions we got to start to answer. Yep. And we got to start to address. It's not just about trust you. Absolutely. They don't trust them.
And
so how do you address that?
And if they have trust issues because of what you, so any woman who is overly insecure or has trust issues is not going to be for me. Let me be clear, not because of how I look, but because of who God has designed. I'm always going to attract them. I'm always going to be considerate. I'm always going to be kind. I'm always going to love my daughters out loud. I'm always going to open doors for women.
Why are you going to be like that, Caprice?
You know,
Did you a serial what?
I'm done with you.
A serial what, Caprice? Flirter. A serial flirter. You hear him?
That's just
Exactly. Yes. You know what I mean? He's getting all his good back tonight forever, feeling like we ganged up with him.
He definitely is. He definitely is.
He definitely is.
Men in our age group is more picky. Standards are high, physical appearance only. I'm not going to say physical appearance only. I will say this. Men in your age group, the reason they're more picky, in my estimation, the reason they're more picky, the reason they have standards now is because they've matured.
Right.
And they tired of playing games. Right. Talking to Ebony last night. Like her standards, I'm like, Ebony, come on, Ebony. Like, seriously. But again,
high standards.
What I want you guys to understand, if those are your standards, those are your standards.
Keep them. Keep that energy.
Don't change them.
That energy.
I don't care what comes. Do not change your standards. We found out the power to define is the power to fulfill.
Absolutely.
When you say that's your standard, it's a non-negotiable. Period, point blank. I don't care how good you live. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what value you can bring to me in this relationship. Here are my standards. If you meet my standards, we good. We can go from there.
That
some standards. So we talked about that.
Standards aren't.
But this is based on definition. Absolutely.
Sure. Ebony says standards are flexible. Yo, we want to make sure they can hear you.
Certain things are non-negotiable, yes. But for many years, my whole thought process was if I meet someone, if they have kids, they can't have more than 2 because I only have 1. And their kids have to be close in age with my son because I didn't want to raise small children. But now I feel like I could date someone that has more than 2 kids.
That's a good point.
But I still stand firm on not having like little babies.
I'm a
little more flexible now than I was.
So I think it's 2 things. I think a few things are important. Okay, we talked about this on our episode with standard versus preference.
Absolutely.
Right? Standards can change. Right. We did discover that.
That's right. That's
right. They can change. Now, yes, standards can change. While they're negotiable, I think the separation is you got to put standards in one category and put preferences in the other category. So we're saying standards can change. While we're saying standards are non-negotiable,
right? If
you run into an instance where you say, you know what, that don't really make a lot of sense. That standard might be a little bit impossible and too high.
Oh,
let me tweak it a little bit.
Of course. It depends. It depends on the person. My standards are non-negotiable.
Period.
A standard is a baseline. So I said this before. For me, it is not optional. I am, however you want to brand it, Christian, whatever the case may be. It is non-negotiable for me to be with a woman who, when we go to sleep at night, we're praying to different gods. That's not negotiable. That's not going to move. That's not going to part. Preferences are inside joke. Yeah. I hate freaking cats.
Yeah, you gotta let it go, bro.
I'm not, because it's so substantial.
You gotta let it go. You cannot keep bringing this up every week.
However, but right to your point, a preference is when you meet the person that makes you say, you know what, I thought this was important, but it's not. To me, the God that we believe in doesn't fall into that category. If she's that beautiful or that fine or that intelligent, you're like, I guess I can learn to pet a damn cat. You understand what I'm saying to you? Listen.
So again, and that's so.
First of all, a man with a cat is a whole different energy. Dudes, if you're out there and you have a cat,
that's what we doing.
We're probably.
That's crazy.
Edit that out to see.
That's crazy. Hey, if any guys out there with cats, I guess these guys saying that's a sign.
Y'all are sensitive.
That's a sign. I'm just saying.
They're more involved than we are.
If you date the guy with a cat, be careful. Yeah, you got a leash on the cat. Trying to protect.
Yo, walking the cat.
You know, yeah, really though.
Walking the cat.
Oh my God.
The cat at the door.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh
Okay,
my
so,
God.
back to the show. We digress. Woo, we digress. We digress, y'all.
It's almost time to put a bow.
It is.
So,
It is. It is. But
Definitely.
that you guys raise another point that I think is important that we touch on just real quickly again, is that when you sit down and have these conversations amongst yourselves,
Absolutely.
right? You're talking about standards versus preference. Like, really write this stuff out,
Absolutely.
Mhm.
right? Write it out.
Unapologetically.
Unapologetically.
Yes.
And then when you write it out, look at the list and determine, okay, like for real, which one of these are like I probably can make some adjustments along the way,
Yes.
right? And then you put those in the preference pile.
Yes.
That way, when you get to a point and you have those standards, you're able to identify this is a no-go off the break. You know what I'm saying? And so to your point, out the gate, if you're saying we discussing purpose,
Absolutely.
you know, dating with a purpose out the gate,
Yep.
if that's your standard, you got to hold the line on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if that's your preference and you saying, nah, I don't feel that type of way, that's cool too, right? But you have to set some type of expectation for your dating life these days.
Let me add this, right? Because I'm in this dating world.
Yes, you are. Heavy.
And listen, it's not good on either end for men or women. It's
It's definitely not.
you
bro.
definitely
It's
have to
definitely not.
pace yourself.
It's definitely not.
You have to pace yourself.
That's why I got out that thing early. You know, I swept that thing in my broom. I got out of there, Doc.
It's a process. Sometimes it takes some people a little longer than others to find that one that they mesh with. You know what I mean? Me myself, I'll put it out there. I'm not afraid to say I've been single for 12 years now.
That's a good question, Al.
12 years.
I'm gonna touch on that real quick, Al.
Because
What up,
I'm
homie?
not going to dive in and give my all to just anybody. You get what I'm saying? So I have to kind of like what Vic was saying. I have to make sure me and that person is on same page,
Yeah.
moving in the same direction. Even make sure that person that I'm with, I'm willing to put myself in an uncomfortable situation, meaning grow, so that they are, you know what I mean? I'm meeting them.
That goes to
where I
Al.
need to
That
meet
goes
them.
to what Al just said.
Yeah.
So folks, even in our age group. So Al, what's up, homie? Let's go way back. Folks, even in our age group, say they good, right, with certain things in the beginning, but then call an audible. And so, right,
I got a good example. I got a good example.
We talked about that, right? Especially for ladies, and this is not to put it all on
Females
them.
got too much
But
power, man.
so often,
Sick of it.
you have to know.
Sick of it for free. They got too much power, man.
You have to know that the guy that you want, so does everybody. Well, let me not say everybody, but a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And so
They got lined up.
and then
Man,
right,
women.
we talked about the dating pool because y'all just said, I just heard it's not good, right? Your
It's not
perception
good.
has everything to do with what you get. I think the dating pool is phenomenal. I want there to be limited choices. I believe I'm phenomenal, so I'm not expecting there to be a whole bunch of people out there for the
But
me
you
to
just
meet.
said it. You just said you wanted to be limited. Ain't nothing limited.
Well, let me
about the dating
so
game,
okay,
is
so
it?
selective.
Oh, okay.
Selective, right?
Yeah.
Right,
I don't-
right.
if you-
that's
Yes,
if you
speak
are-
right,
yeah.
If you own, no, I appreciate you correcting me on my words, right? If you own your own home, you're making X amount of dollars. If you have this level of education, you have to realize you exist and you live in a percentile that's not common. So why would you expect for there to be a large pool of people that suit you for where it is, who you are, and how it is that you are?
Mhm.
Yet people say, oh, because there's not limited, right? Because there's not a ton of people swimming in that pool, that there's something wrong with it. I find myself most at
Oh,
home
I see. I got you now.
when I'm places where there's not a lot of people.
Facts. So let me address Al, and then we're gonna get out. We're gonna wrap it up, man. So I think you already read it, folks. Even
Yeah,
in our age group say they good with certain things, in the beginning, but then they called an audible Omaha on you, right? I experienced that, right? And this is again where you gotta know what your non-negotiables are,
Facts.
right? I experienced that on a couple of different occasions. And I'll start with the cat situation first, since somebody else brought it up, right? I don't like cats, Al. We had a conversation about not having a cat, Al. Right. And she brought a cat in here, right? Was that cat the thing broke the camel's back? No.
Right.
It wasn't that serious
Right.
for me, right? Well, that was my preference,
You adjust.
but it wasn't a standard.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
The same thing could be said about you now, I believe safely, right? Where you said cat, it was a standard, and then you're like, let me rethink
I
this.
swipe left. If it was a cat in the picture,
But you also, if I'm not mistaken, you correct me if I'm wrong. You also said there may be a circumstance
absolutely.
where a cat can be.
And I gave you credit based on the way that you love your wife, right? So who we are, how we evolve, how we relate. Please take a look at the circle around you. These gentlemen make me better on a day-to-day basis.
There you go.
How this man loves
This
his
is
wife
stuff right
out loud
What is
tends
it,
me to
Caprice?
lead in.
Caprice, what is it?
Y'all are killing me, dog. Y'all are. I
See,
swear to
I
God.
ain't saying this. I ain't
Listen,
saying this.
ladies and gentlemen, we've been the King's we've been the King's cutting board. Our topic tonight: is it okay for your significant other, your spouse, to have friends of the opposite sex? What we would say,
Okay, that's what I was going to go.
it depends. What we want to encourage you to do:
Have a conversation.
lean in and have
Have
a real,
conversation.
honest
And
conversation.
what's important to them should be important to you.
Absolutely, positively. That's who we are. That's how we are. We believe that's our dish. That's what makes us different. That's what separates us. Listen, we become better with every single time that you all give us feedback and chime in. Thank you so much. You could be doing anything with your Friday evening, and you are right here with us, whether it's now on the replay. My name has been
You're not
Victor
going to pick
Vaughn.
out pop-up guests?
She inserted herself a whole bunch. We
But
had to have a
it was
conversation
our
after this to
producer's
begin
fault.
with.
It was our producer's fault. I didn't even know she was coming, y'all. It's our producer's fault. We gotta blame the producer, bro.
Thank you, Ebony. Thank you. She gonna bow silent. You ain't been silent the whole hour and a half. Now you want to be silent. We appreciate you. Listen, it's a complete demonstration of the fact, ladies and gentlemen, we are better together. Oh, it's nothing. We are far better together when we're talking to each other instead of at each other. So lean in, get an understanding with the people that you love. Let them know that you love them, that they mean a lot to you. Listen, until next Friday, I've been Victor Vaughn. This gentleman to my right has been
Bruce Bailey, quiet boy.
this gentleman, extra shiny tonight, has been
Caprice.
Hey,
we love and appreciate
we love
y'all.
and appreciate y'all. But remember, all we want is some peace
And
and a peace.
Later.
Man, y'all crazy.